How come you're always off with your friends? How come I don't care? How come I always gotta be the one that call you? How come I always gotta text you first?
Around me are familiar faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen.
I think domestic violence is defined lots of different ways. But to me, domestic violence, and really the way Kyle looks at it, is it's a series of behaviors and tactics that are applied to another person in order to maintain or gain control of their behavior. And it tends to be with intimate partners. One of the things that we've seen, domestic violence is a relatively young field. We started actually, developing services and things like that in the 70s, so it hasn't been around forever. Programs started coming up in the 70s, we started keeping statistics around it. And so I think one of the things that we do know, there are a few things that we do know, and again, it's this issue of one person trying to have power and control over the other person. The other thing that we see is that oftentimes that power and control might look like someone who is very jealous or who is very controlling of their partner and everything they wear, what they say, who they talk to, all of those things. But the other thing that we've sort of seen over time is that a lot of these relationships start off really fast. So, they may have met, but then there was this whirlwind of just, romance and courting and just, buying flowers and just really moving it really fast to a really serious level where that's the only person that they're dating within, like a week, and then they're living together, things like that. So it tends to be a fast-moving relationship. I think that's another sign that we see. If you're in the relationship, I think the reality is if you feel like your voice is not heard, or you feel like you are unable to say or have an equal role in the relationship, to me that would be a really, really strong sign that it has the potential to become abusive.
Usually, if you notice that maybe your friend or someone that you're close to, family member or whatever, may be going through, or maybe even yourself, is experiencing domestic violence, the signs are usually they're more secluded. They're not, they might not talk a whole lot about their relationship going, whoever it's with. They might keep to themselves more often. They may not always go out. They may have to check with whoever, let's say it's your boyfriend or your husband or whatever, or girlfriend or whatever the case may be. They may have to check with them before they go somewhere. They might not have control over their finances. You might come to find that out. So it's just little things like that you can say. Obviously, the obvious signs that they have bruises on their body or markings on their body that, they're making up excuses like, oh, I, just ran into the door, and, probably that wasn't essentially really the truth, that she ran into the door because it doesn't make sense. So stuff like that, you can kind of get an idea that maybe he or she might be involved in a domestic violence situation.
Absolutely. I think nationally, the statistics, one of the problems with domestic violence is it's such an underreported crime. You know, it might happen 3 or 4 times before the police are ever involved. And that's the reporting statistics that we all use. It also might be, you know, out of shame or things like that, that it's never reported or it goes on for years. So I think it's really underreported. Statistically, nationally, that says that about 10 to 15% of victims of domestic violence are male and 85 to 90% are female. I think if you're a man, it might be even more difficult to come forward and say I'm a victim of domestic abuse, because it's typically seen as a male on female, a male violence against women. So I think that's one of the things that might keep those statistics maybe skewed. But yeah, I do believe we have many men who are victims of abuse who call us and receive services. I mean, in reality, you should talk to a trusted adult, maybe a teacher, maybe a counselor, maybe a family member, hopefully your parent, but talk to somebody and tell them what's going on. The other thing is you can talk to your friends. I think your friends tend to know sort of you and might be able to have seen sort of how this has affected you in your relationship. But, you know, the reality is that you need to talk to someone who can help you see that this is not your fault. One of the things that happens in domestic violence cases is that we often blame ourselves, or we often think that if I had only done this, or if I only tried harder, then, you know, this wouldn't have happened to me, or then he would have gotten mad and hit me, or she would have gotten angry and done this. And so we have to recognize that, you know, the mind games and the way that you are made to believe that this is your fault is really difficult to combat.
You know, growing up when I was in school, we were never talked to about teen dating violence. We weren't talked to about domestic violence. I don't think it's in the school systems enough. And so I can't, generally speaking, I cannot say, you know, whether, you know, teachers are educated on it or counselors are educated on it and enough. One of the programs that we do here, that we have here at Safe Embrace, or that we're starting to, is we're going to be going into the school systems and actually having teen dating violence classes and stuff. And we also work with Children's Cabinet, and we do a group over there that again talks about teen dating violence. And so education and awareness is very essential to ending the cycle of violence. And us as a program, us as an agency, that's one of our main goals. It's one of our missions, is intervention and prevention, and a part of the intervention is awareness and letting, you know, our community know, not just going into the schools, but politicians, you know, our senators, everything like that, our big public figures, you know, just making them aware of this epidemic that's kind of been going on for centuries and centuries and centuries. And a long time ago it was thought of as being okay, but now that we're coming into a new age, you know, our goal is to have this, to stop it if we can.